He's acting like an actual beast. I don't know this person. Why is he doing this? Hi everybody, welcome to our channel and welcome back to episode 6 of Dating Disaster Story Times. I know I'm wearing the same thing as last week. What happened was I was getting ready to pack up my things, and because I had just told a story about high school, I remembered another story about high school, and so we're just going to do this one on the fly. We're going to be talking about my Puerto Rican crush and how he absolutely embarrassed me beyond belief in front of my family. I'm still in high school, still a sophomore. We're going to call this boy Eddie. I met Eddie during my gym class. Every month or so, we had the ability to switch which sport we wanted to focus on, and I chose basketball as often as possible. I was on the basketball team at school. Most of the time, I was the only young woman that was there to play, like get pushed around in the paint and not care if I got smacked or knocked down, whatever. The guys didn't really pay me any mind. I was always last pick. I rarely got the ball. I don't know exactly how to describe Eddie. He was very handsome. He was tall, light-skinned, lanky. He had this long, pretty hair that was in braids. He was so gentle and so nice in comparison to the other guys that I was playing basketball with. Whenever he was captain, he would always make me his first pick. Whenever I wasn't getting the ball, he would get me the ball. He would yell at them for being too rough. Like, he was really my savior in a lot of ways. I started developing a crush on this boy. I guess he got a good enough feel for my skills that then he decided to invite me to intramural basketball after school and right before my practice. And I was like, more basketball is great, so let's do that. I started going to intramural basketball with Eddie, and I met his group of friends. Everyone was really inclusive. They didn't make me feel like because I was the only woman I wasn't good enough to play. And he also played basketball at the courts in different parks that were within walking distance from my house. When he found this out, he invited me from intramurals to go to the courts to play with him and his group of friends. I asked my parents about whether or not I would be able to go. My parents are super strict, and they had the idea, it's a great idea and I'm going to do it as well. If I was going to hang out with somebody, they needed to meet the person, and it couldn't just be like a hi, I'm so and so, bye. This person needed to spend part of the day with us or do an activity with us so that my parents could get a read on who they were. Hazel, my sister from the previous story, she already knew who Eddie was, and I guess she put in a good word for my parents. I think they also saw that I had a crush on this boy and I wanted them to meet him, so they were down to figure out, who's this person she's going to be spending time with, and if she likes him, we even more so need to figure out who he is. So I go back to Eddie. I let him know, hey, I can go, but only if you come to my house and you meet my parents because they're super strict and they won't let me go otherwise. He was surprisingly okay with it and said, all right, let's pick a day. We picked a Saturday, so my entire family is there. All of my younger brothers and sisters, Hazel, my older sister, my parents are there, waiting for Eddie to arrive in the afternoon because we have invited him over for dinner. Around maybe 5-ish, 5:30, the doorbell rings. We open the door. Oh, Lord, give me strength. Okay, so we open the door, and this boy comes flying in my parents' house, and he is hollering like Tarzan. So he runs through the foyer, runs through the living room, and slides like a baseball slide to the other end of the wall where my mom's Casio keyboard is standing. He makes contact with the Casio keyboard. The thing topples over on top of him, and he is just laughing, like super hard laughing. Gets up and says, no, my bad, I'm so sorry, my name's Eddie, nice to meet you, Miss So-and-so, nice to meet you, Mr. So-and-so. I am mortified, y'all. I just want to crawl underneath the couch and die there because I could not take it. I don't remember a lot of what happened, and I'm convinced it's because I blocked it out because it was so traumatizing for me. Other things that he did while he was there's a flight of stairs, then there's a solid level, and then there's another flight of stairs, but there's this overhanging that if you're tall enough you can touch. Eddie grabs the overhang and starts swinging on it, y'all. Swinging on it like it's a vine, just back and forth, and saying things like, wee! This was a 17-year-old boy. I remember when we sat down for dinner, it was spaghetti and meatballs. It was spaghetti and meatballs and salad. And he was taking noodles and putting them above his head and just putting the noodles in his mouth. Same thing with the spinach. We were drinking Kool-Aid as a beverage. He ran out of Kool-Aid and he starts full fist pounding on the table. I want Kool-Aid. I want Kool-Aid. He's acting like an actual beast. I don't know this person. Why is he doing this? To make a first impression like this, I was just absolutely shocked. I know that I went upstairs before he left, and I just remember sitting in the bathroom and kind of crying because I felt so embarrassed by his behavior. It was Saturday, so I had a whole day, which was Sunday, to kind of collect myself and get it together before the school week. I'm supposed to be doing intramural basketball on Monday, and I decide I can't go. I missed like a couple of days, and eventually Eddie and I found each other in the hallway, and he was like, hey, are you okay? Where you been? And I was like, I can't talk about this. I can't. The next time he saw me, he said, hey, do you want to give me your number? Maybe we can talk over the phone because I feel like you're avoiding me. I gave him our house phone number. He called later on that afternoon, and I went up to the bathroom, and I just remember telling him, you embarrassed me. I can't believe that you acted like that in front of my family. I like you. It was important for you to make a good impression. I even made the comment of, if you don't like me or you don't want to be around me, then you can just say that. You don't have to come to my family's house and make a complete fool out of me and make a fool out of yourself, yada yada yada. He was very taken aback by the things that I was saying. He didn't know that I had a crush on him. He didn't know that I liked him. He didn't know that I had expected him to make any kind of an impression. He was just trying to get everybody to like him, he said. And that was his way of getting people to like him. Oh, he apologized. We hung up the phone. I go back to intramural basketball a couple of days later. He doesn't make it awkward. We act like nothing happened. He's still kind and nice, the same person he was previously, but I can't look at him the same way now knowing what I know. His friendship with my sister Hazel, though, continued to grow. So he kept coming around our house, especially during the summer. There was even one time where my mom was unloading groceries from Costco, and I guess she had left the back of her Suburban open. This boy climbed into the back of my mom's Suburban and waited for her to open the doors to jump out at her. He was such a goofball, y'all. I don't. Without the lens of him being my crush there anymore, he was just this ridiculously hyperactive guy that just wanted to make people laugh, and I can look back and see that now. When I went away to college, we lost touch. The last that I heard about him, he was preparing for a career as a boxer. So I hope that's going well for him. Have you ever had a crush embarrass you before? If you have, let me know the story down in the comments. I will be back into my adult life and my most recent stories coming up. But as we always say on our channel, with God, all things are possible. I will see you next week. Bye.